no longer paints the sky, and the rivers have turned to gray. The color green no longer paints the leaves, and the trees have all burned away. People have made the colors change.
Very few Indian people are working in the media. Actor Will Sampson, who tries to be the kind of a motion picture hero that Indian kids can look up to, is also an accomplished artist. Wallace Coffey, a Comanche, is working on producing an Indian version of the popular Sesame Street for kids. Tana Bibi is a public relations representative for the BIA, and she tells of her work as an Indian woman on the staff of a television station. This is some of the guests from the past trying to inform and to entertain and educate. Getting such wide acclaim that you are being looked up to by a lot of the Indian children now. I bring this up because in an article I wrote for the Rap City Journal, I talked about an Indian, a California, Korea Indian man named George Miranda, who was talking before the Indian Claims Commission, and he said that his daughter came home from school and was in tears one night, and she had seen a movie at school, and she says, "Dad, aren't there any good Indians in this world?"
Yeah, that affects me. I've seen a lot of that throughout my life while I was growing up and working around the country at different jobs and things, and always have done or tried to do things for the Indian schools and Indian children. And the thing that I've found is they're very proud to be an Indian. They're very proud, but they don't know what they're proud of, you know. But they know they're proud, and it's lost somewhere in that in between there. And the only thing that I could think of, or could possibly be the answer, was I looked around. There are no Indian heroes for the children today, like the white children have. They've got baseball, football, boxing. They're all, you know, they got all kinds of heroes that they're living. They can see on film and go see. And the Indian children have none. All their heroes are dead. Crazy Horse, Red Cloud, Sitting Bull, and all the great chiefs. They're all gone. But they're proud of them. But they're not here. So in that effect, that's what I try to be, or want to be, for the Indian children or Indian people. Give them some kind of something that's
something to identify.
If he did it, I can do it, or you know, somebody is really looking out for us, you know.
Well, I think the black actors went through this quite a bit when they were first breaking into the movie industry, and that stereotyping among the blacks was probably as bad, maybe not quite as bad, but it was very bad. And you saw images like the Step and Fetch It type of, yes, of boss and this sort of thing in the movies. And this was what almost all the children, in fact myself, when I first saw black men, I thought this was the only type of black men there was, because this is the images that had been shown to us as children. And I'm sure that a lot of the Indian children can see now that there are serious dramatic roles for Indians that present Indians as human beings rather than howling savages that are coming out of the road on horses.
And that's something that hasn't been done yet, as of yet, because there are a lot of great stories of Indian scholars, Indian writers, great poets, artisans, or even doctors that contributed, even in Congress. A lot of the laws and legislation are written on the Indian ways of government, because they had this land and they had government that worked before the white men came.
Right.
And they adapted some of these laws and bylaws in their constitutions and laws and things. And there's just a tremendous amount of stories that are really, and true stories of great Indians.
You think probably one of the reasons, Will, is from some of the reading I've done, is Indians were omitted from history books as people who contributed to making this country a good, strong country. Indians had so much that they contributed. A lot of the foods that you find all over the world, potatoes, beans, corn, these were all Indian grown, and a lot of people don't know that, don't even understand it.
That's true.
And an Indian student in school that's reading history books, he doesn't find out any of these things until he actually goes to a school where this is a culture thing.
And then they don't teach it You have to find it.
You have to look it up for
It's
yourself.
there, but they have to research it and find it themselves because they won't tell you this. And it's a funny thing, you know, people believe potatoes come from Ireland. Hence the Irish potato, but it didn't. It came from America.
That's right.
It's an Indian food. And
I didn't know that myself till I did some research and found it out.
yeah, and it's true. And lately they're rewriting some of the textbooks I've seen, gradually coming around to giving credit to the Indian for a lot of things, whereas before they didn't or hadn't mentioned. And like when I was growing up, the history books and things about the United States, United States history or whatever, that were omitted. A lot of the lawmakers and stuff way back then in the colonies were Indian.